Imagine the satisfaction of assembling a bookshelf, patching a leaky pipe, or planting your own backyard garden. These accomplishments bring a sense of pride, a feeling of being truly self-reliant. But before you bask too long in that pride, ask yourself, did you mine the steel for those screws? Did you cut down the trees for the lumber? Of course not. What you really did was take control over the labor, not the entire process. DIY is not about independence from society. It's about reclaiming control over how, when, and where work gets done. Let's dive into why DIY isn't just about self-reliance, but about becoming the boss of your own time, skills, and projects. The ideal of independence is comforting, but DIY doesn't exist in a vacuum. The truth is, when you take on a DIY project, you're still heavily dependent on industrial systems. Think about it. Most DIY projects require tools and materials that are mass-produced by factories. For instance, even the simplest woodworking project requires nails, saws, and sandpaper, all products that come from industrial supply chains. And when you need knowledge, where does it come from? It's rarely a product of self-taught wisdom. Instead, you likely turn to shared resources like tutorials, books, or mentors. Take fixing a bike, for example. Most of us have learned how to do it by watching videos or reading guides, not through an isolated, independent experience. And let's not forget that everything from the seeds for your garden to the batteries in your power tools are tied to global trade. That cordless drill giving you DIY superpowers likely traveled thousands of miles before it made its way into your hands. DIY thrives on these interconnected systems, making it clear that total independence is more myth than reality. What DIY truly offers isn't independence, but the ability to control how labor is performed. Think about customization. DIY allows you to create something that exactly matches your needs and preferences. Imagine building your own desk. You choose the dimensions, materials, and design, as opposed to settling for a mass-produced version that doesn't quite fit your style or space. DIY also offers flexibility. You decide when and how to complete the project, working at your own pace. Painting your home over a weekend, for example, gives you the freedom to stop, adjust, or experiment as needed. Plus, there's the savings on labor costs. By doing the work yourself, you avoid paying for expensive professional services. Installing your own tile might save you hundreds of dollars in contractor fees. And with every project, you develop new skills that will help you tackle future tasks with confidence. Fixing a leaky faucet teaches you the basics of plumbing, giving you the ability to handle more complex repairs down the line. But let's not get carried away. DIY is not just about avoiding professional help. It's about what the control over labor means for your empowerment. Doing the work yourself fosters a deep sense of accomplishment and boosts your confidence. When you assemble your own furniture, it's not just about having a functional living space, it's about the pride in knowing you created it. Furthermore, by reducing your reliance on professionals, you gain the freedom to handle basic repairs or projects without waiting for appointments or paying high fees. Take changing your own oil, for instance. When you do it yourself, there's no need to schedule a time and wait for a mechanic to fit you in. You're in control. DIY also provides a level of cost transparency. By taking on the labor yourself, you gain a clear understanding of the actual costs involved: time, effort, and materials. For example, when you build a table, you know exactly where your money goes, from the lumber to the screws. Lastly, DIY projects give you a canvas for creativity. Whether you're painting a mural or crafting custom furniture, the possibilities for self-expression are endless, unlike the uniformity of off-the-shelf products. However, as empowering as DIY is, there's a time and place for outsourcing labor. Knowing when to hire help can make all the difference. Some tasks require specialized expertise, precision, or are simply too dangerous for an amateur to handle. Take electrical wiring or major structural repairs. These are jobs best left to licensed professionals. Trying to DIY a structural repair without the proper skills could result in dangerous, costly mistakes. Additionally, mass-produced alternatives often come out cheaper than what it would cost to make the same thing from scratch. For example, a factory-produced dining table might cost less than the raw wood and tools needed to build it yourself. Time-sensitive needs also come into play. If you're on a tight schedule, buying a pre-made item or hiring a professional can save you the hours of labor and potential delays that come with DIY. Imagine needing a bookshelf immediately, only to find yourself weeks into a DIY project with no end in sight. Finally, professional-grade products are often more durable, which can save you money in the long run. A professionally installed roof, for instance, is less likely to leak than a DIY job gone wrong. When deciding whether to DIY or outsource, consider the true cost of the project. First, calculate all the costs involved. This includes materials, tools, time, and potential mistakes. For example, building a table might cost you $150 in wood, $50 for tools, and 10 hours of your time. Now, compare that to the price of a store-bought table. Is it worth it? Also, think about your time. If your hourly wage is $25 and the project takes 20 hours, you've effectively spent $500 on labor. Is this the best use of your time? Next, assess your skill level. Are you prepared for the likelihood of mistakes? If you've never used a saw, attempting to build a DIY cabinet might lead to frustration and wasted materials. Finally, consider the long-term durability of your project. A wobbly DIY chair might need to be replaced sooner than a professionally built one. Taking these factors into account helps ensure that your DIY project is financially and practically worthwhile. In conclusion, DIY can be an incredibly rewarding and cost-effective choice, but it's not always the cheapest or easiest option. Hidden costs like tools, time, and mistakes often tip the scales, making store-bought or professional alternatives more practical in some cases. The key is balance. Focus on projects where DIY adds value without overwhelming your budget or time. Whether it's fixing a faucet, building a bookshelf, or customizing furniture, understanding the true costs ensures you make smarter decisions and avoid turning your DIY dream into a financial nightmare. So, before you pick up that hammer, take a moment to ask yourself, is this project truly worth your time, money, and effort? Or would you be better off leaving it to the professionals?